The king of Alpine jackets, the Patagonia backcountry skiing and rock climbing jacket is the best jacket I've ever owned. I've spent a lot of time in the mountains the past 4 years, and this jacket is the best jacket I've ever owned. So today I'm going to be doing a review of this. I've been using this now for about 2.5 years, day in, day out. The only time of year I don't use it a lot is right now when it's summertime and it's really hot. So even then, I have used it a couple times. If you've been watching my road trip series through the United States, there's a few times I wore this in the sun just because for whatever reason, I lost a piece of gear or something and I needed something to wear over me. In the hot sun for a short hike, and it was fine. It was a little bit hot, but in general, this is an Alpine jacket. You wear it in the winter, you wear it in the spring and the fall when it's rainy, when it's windy, when it's cold. That's the whole point of this jacket. First off, this is the Patagonia galvanized jacket. They don't sell this anymore. Patagonia just kind of changes the names of their jackets and, you know, upgrades the technology and kind of reiterates on their jackets. So the closest one to this today is the Granite Crest or the Dual Ascent jackets. Those ones are a little bit different. They're both very similar to this. As you can see here, I have a second jacket. This is called the Pluma, and I'll be kind of just bouncing off of this one because this one has its own purposes. This one's a Gore-Tex jacket. So now these are both very expensive jackets. At some point, if you have the money, if you're spending a lot of time in the woods, it's good to get great pieces of gear. Next piece for me would be a pair of pants. But I live on Vancouver Island. We get tons of rain here. Just the most important piece is the jacket. So first off, this jacket is made with Patagonia's N2NO fabric. It's their own fabric. It's kind of like Gore-Tex. It's not as waterproof as Gore-Tex, but it also makes their jackets a little bit cheaper because they make the fabric. This fabric too, as you can see on the outside, is like a shell. It's like a soft shell, hard shell. Now what's interesting about this, and the reason why I bought it, is it's flexible. You can see here, the whole thing stretches, and I have big shoulders, and if I put a normal jacket on that's made for like typical men that in a medium size, it's just like, I feel so crammed in it. It's horrible. And the whole hike, I'll have just this kind of cramping pain in my shoulders. So for that reason, I got this. This is designed for rock climbers and backcountry skiers. They need more movement, especially, you know, think of rock climbing, you're climbing up, you need to be able to move. And this is perfect for me. So if you have that sort of problem, maybe you want to look into this. So on the inside, it has this jersey material, as they call it. It's what makes it kind of stretchy. It's pretty waterproof. Now compare it to this one, which is 100% Gore-Tex, and this one's more expensive. Let's compare prices. This one I think was $475 Canadian. This was $680 Canadian. I bought these both on sale because I would never pay full price because I'm kind of frugal, and I'm very frugal. And so I got this one for $325 and this one for $425. Now I use this jacket most of the time. This one, not that much, but when I do need a waterproof jacket, this is the one I'm going with. The straight up solid Gore-Tex, not really breathable. This is not stretchy, and it's really noisy. So like when I'm making videos on camera, this is a really annoying jacket, but I have worn this red one in, this is called the Pluma, which they still sell today. I've worn this one in the rain for 6 hours, like pouring rain straight, was bone dry inside, so it does work. This is my go-to jacket, obviously the title of the video. This one I can wear for about 2.5 hours in the rain, like pouring rain before it starts soaking through. I've had it twice where it soaked through. It doesn't soak through right away. It's like, it slowly starts to change color, and then over about an hour and a half, it starts to be just wet inside. So you kind of have a buffer, at least you know you have about an hour and a half. When you start to see it change color and it's not just this bright blue, but it's a darker blue, then you know it's starting to soak through, and hopefully you can get off your mountain or whatever in time. So if I'm going for a day hike, if I'm going in the snow, any snow conditions, it doesn't matter what it is, this jacket's coming with me. I don't need the Gore-Tex. Unless there's gonna be projected downpours, I don't typically go into that situation, but if I do know it's like a high chance of pouring rain, I'll bring the red one. Otherwise, this always comes with me. It's always in my bag. It weighs 525 grams. This one weighs just over 400 grams, so this one's slightly heavier, but this one's also warmer. I think that 3-layer technology just seems to be warmer. This just feels thinner. This is quite a comfortable jacket. It actually warms you up quite a bit. For that reason, let's go over the zippers and the features here. So all the zippers are weather sealed and all the seams inside are seam sealed, so you don't get water into this. It's just a matter of if you get pouring direct rain on it, it will eventually saturate through. I think scientifically they measured it based on millimeters, and it was like 28,000 millimeters soaked through on this one, and it's like 10 to 20,000 on this one. This jacket is about 2 to 3 times more waterproof than this one is. They're both listed as waterproof, but this one, the red one, does a better job because it's straight Gore-Tex. Okay, so now pockets here. We've got this chest pocket here, which I just zipped up. There we go. So it's big enough to fit a phone. I've got a Samsung S8, fits perfectly in there. Anything else you can snack or whatever. It's got 2 hand warmer pockets. And you can see they're placed really high up because if you want to have a rock climbing harness on, that won't get in the way of these pockets. These zip up versus down. You can just use them as normal pockets. They're sealed in the bottoms, so it's not like there's a hole in there or something. And now for the armpits, the most important pocket for me, you'd call it that. So you can see it goes all the way up here and all the way down here. It's a pretty big space. There's 2 zippers. You can zip it each way. I keep mine at the bottom. And what I do is I take my thumb, push it into this, stretch it up. You can't really see it on camera. There you go. So stretch it out like that. And then you can just pull and you get the whole thing. You don't need anyone to help you. Same thing as your thumbs in there. You can tighten it, grab the thing, pull it down. Pretty easy. So there we go. So this allows you to really get a lot of heat out of your body when you're working. This is like key for me when I'm hiking. I'm generating so much heat. So much comes out of my armpits there by having those open. So now this thing has 2 things that you can cinch down: the hood and the waist. So the waist, obviously if you're skiing or something, you don't want snow to go in there. It's got 2 tabs. You can see here, you can pull them out like that. There's little plastic tabs here. And if you pull them down, really crank on them, it's cinching really hard on my waist. Now the only bad side or the downside of this is you'll have these things hanging out, and you don't want these to hook on branches and trees and stuff if you're skiing or rock climbing or whatever. So if you reach in the pocket, there's a little piece of this cord that you can just pull. And that basically puts all the slack of that into the pocket. So now you don't have that hanging out anymore. And so I can fold that down, it's nice and cinched up. Now if you wanna loosen that, there's 2 buttons here, these little icons. If you just push these, there, it just loosens it up. Same thing on the hood. So the hood here is quite large, and that's, so it can accommodate a helmet. And there's like the strap is right here, like it goes through here, you'll see. It cinches down, but basically you can just wear it normal. It's got a nice little like lip on it here. So we zip it up all the way. You get a lot of good coverage here. But you can actually tighten this up even more. So I'll show you with a helmet on. I've got a snowboarding helmet here. Now the hood, so it's got, you can see the elastic here. That will just hook in front, right underneath there. And pull it down. So now to tighten this, there's a cord on the back. You pull that, and that cinches that up, and then you can, and there's, now if we want to loosen this up, it's just simply on the back here. You can find the cord, and then the button is right above it. Push that and it just loosened it. Now on the front of the hood, there's 2 buttons here, and there's 2 pull tabs. You can pull these tabs. You kind of have to grab near the button and really pull hard, and it'll cinch down the front of the face. You can do this on both sides. So you have just a tiny crack for your eyes. So if it's really terrible weather, it's blizzarding, it's raining hard, whatever, windy, you need to get out of the cold, this is how you can protect yourself. And all you have to do is push the 2 buttons and it releases the tension back to get back to a normal hood. Now this jacket is also equipped with a RECO device, which is a wireless kind of transponder. This is more of a ski thing, so if you get buried in an avalanche, ski hills all have this RECO device thing that shoots out some sort of rays and it bounces back a noise when it comes near one of these transponders. So if you get buried, they can potentially find you an avalanche. So for that reason, it's definitely a ski jacket kind of element, but it's a nice added extra safety feature. So one other feature I didn't mention is it has Velcro straps on the wrists, and on the inside there's a polyurethane layer here which is kind of grippy, so when you put snow gloves on it will grab those. So when you tighten this down in your gloves and you're grabbing and moving, it doesn't pop off your wrist, so you don't want to get snow in there. So that does it for all the features of this jacket. Now let's talk about my experience using it. So I don't review stuff on my channel that's fresh out of the box. If I do have something like that, like the Arc'teryx 30 Aerios bag, it will be called an overview, not a review, because that's how do you review a product without actually using it. So I've been using this obviously for multiple years now. And this jacket is fantastic. I actually wear this bushwhacking. It stresses me out every time because it's so expensive. I don't want to get it cut up, but it like there's a few I've gone through, like Devil's Club and some nasty stuff, and I just look at it, I'm like, oh, there's not a single like mark on it. There's no cuts, there's no scratches. It's just like, oh, okay, we're good. So I try to avoid the bushwhacking with it, but sometimes you just can't. It keeps me warm. It's always in my bag if it's the 3 seasons out of summer. So for maximum airflow, I usually just open these up completely, have the pits open, I hike with it like that, and then slowly as I get further and further up a hike, I open this up and then until it's just wide open, then eventually I take it off. The main thing with a jacket like this though is if the weather rolls in and you're just getting slammed, like you don't want to die out there and freeze to death. Like you need something. So I think this would be considered a like slim fit or a snug kind of fitting jacket, even though they're sized up a little bit. I find this is just fantastic. I don't get caught on stuff. I don't feel like I'm like stuck in my jacket. Most of my jackets do not fit, as I said, with my shoulders. Like it doesn't, you can see here, I stretch. It's always on the elbows and then to the back for me, and this just feels great. It stretches, I'm not getting locked in. I definitely get locked in with this one just because it's straight Gore-Tex, but it is what it is. 6 hours I've worn this straight rain and it didn't go through, so it does its job. It's just, it's not a comfortable jacket. This one's actually comfortable, keeps me warm. Great wind protection, you don't get freezing cold in the wind. Plus, as you saw, you can put the hood up, you can cinch that sucker down, so you just have a tiny little window for your eyes if you're in a really bad situation. The only downside of this jacket is it's really expensive, and like I'm not sponsored by Patagonia, I just like their products. And with this one jacket, especially if I look at the weather report, I don't have to bring anything else. If it's a really cold day, then I'll bring a puff with me, like my REI Puff. So I got this REI Puff. This one is fantastic, super light and really warm. So I just got this one on my road trip. Before that, I was using the Amazon Puff, which is also pretty good, not quite as light. It's comparable, maybe not quite as warm, almost as warm. And so it's just, you know, this one's like $100 on sale, and this one was $60 not on sale. So, you know, there's options, but in general, I don't usually bring other jackets unless it's gonna be a really cold day. And obviously these are not waterproof jackets. These would get soaked instantly. So that's why this jacket is fairly warm by itself. You don't really need anything else with it. So I highly recommend this jacket. Obviously they don't make this one anymore, but I'll leave links in the description down below to the other similar jackets. There's the granite crest and dual aspect. You can check out the different variances, slight variances in weight and stuff, but they're pretty much very similar. It's just more of like the pockets. Some of them have two pockets, some only have one, but they're all kind of in the same ballpark of what they offer. Also put a link in the description to this noisy guy, the Pluma, if you want to check that out. Hope you guys found this review of the Patagonia galvanized jacket helpful, and what my favorite jacket is and what's always in my bag. You see it in all my videos, so be sure to subscribe. Until next one, have a great day.